grandes hombres sobreviviendo.
It's not because I don't want to talk to you or anything. It's just why skirt around this great conversation?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Orel really wants to do one about food. Madison wants to do one about sexuality. Who else? I mean, I can do it with your sister. I don't mind.
She would love to do. She says she wanted to do a not necessarily like a in a negative way, but a masculinity versus femininity kind of.
Like a follow up of yours.
Like a follow up of ours, you know, like
here's what Ale got wrong.
No, not even like that, you know, because like we stayed up until 2:00 in the morning one night talking about like what we were talking about. Yeah. And me explaining to her, like, for like, you know, as an example, the thing about chivalry that we were talking about, that it's something that we can't really explain, but it means something to us internally that we can't really explain.
Yeah, I don't know if it's biological or just like societal, exactly. But it does come out like that a little bit.
So, you know, she said, you know, but everybody, like I said, she's like, yeah, but normal people are nice too. You know, and I said, yes, but, you know, it's different when, you know, as an example, it's our thing. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's an us thing.
Well, let's not get too much into it so we have something to talk about afterwards. Yeah. So, welcome to Breaking Better with Mo. Most of you are tired of absolutely everyone and their cousin coming out with a podcast, but give this one a listen. Or not, I'm still going to do it. Format is simple. The guest and I come with a max of 3 questions to ask each other. Questions must be answered directly. The inquisitor can press the other to clarify until they feel satisfied. We stop when I get tired, we are out of questions, or when I get bored. In this case, it might be because I had to prep for Nona's kitchen because I have an unreliable partner who won't be named and is always late, and his name is Noel. Because of this aforementioned event, most of my questions are going to be about food. So stuff your face before you give us a listen. I'd like to welcome our guest, Alejandro the Cuban giraffe Cardona, to the viewers.
Hello.
The sheer size of his head makes me think that he has plenty of thoughts. In order to be transparent with the viewer, this is the second episode we have taped. First one was absolute horseshit, and shall never see the light of day. So without wasting any more of your time, ask me your damn question.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Alejandro, the Cuban giraffe, as Mo introduced actually quite well. So question number 1. Let me see. Where the hell did I put my file?
You had one job, Ale.
I have a Samsung. Okay.
Okay. Crappy phone. Oh, other than him being a Cuban giraffe and having an enormous head, he also has terrible taste in phones.
Yeah, I guess you can say.
Well, at least we're not being. Well, Samsung probably doesn't track you.
Yeah,
Apple does.
Yeah, not like Apple does. Listen to everything you're saying. All right. Anyway, so my first question is regarding how do you think things have changed in the past 10 years with boys being brought up in family situations?
I think, wow, that's actually a good one. I don't want to make it sound like we've talked about what we have, but that's a great take on a previous question that we had discussed. Mm-hmm. In the last 10 years, I think that we've taken a look at toxic masculinity and decided, well, in the long run, while these attributes might be attractive, they're not sustainable. They're the outcome of having this like idea of masculinity is actually sometimes kind of bad it puts a lot of pressure on the boy,
right?
Or even the girls, because they're the recipients of
that toxicity
of the toxicity. But in this case, how we raise young boys, I think we're more open to them having feelings. Mm-hmm. Obviously, me and you come from like a different type of litmus test because we're Hispanic, right? So our parents don't come from like a modern social country. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, we might be a little bit behind, but we've seen what the toxic masculinity does, right? And we're also taking different approaches, or at least we're planning to with our children, because we've had this previous conversation before about how we want our kids to act and who we want them to be. So I'm talking from that place. Right. I can clarify a little bit more.
Right. So as far as, you know, sentiment is concerned, where now boys are it's more widely accepted that boys actually have feelings and, you know, kind of let it be known, you know, that they have emotions and where they stand on certain things. Do you think that there's any place where you may be able to draw the line at where, you know, just as you know, playing devil's advocate, is there a too far point
where we stop teaching them about rugged like masculinity and like we lose this how do I say, this culture of masculinity?
Right.
I think that the characteristics of masculinity are something that are universal. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I look for in any person I try to hang out with. So I wouldn't want those those attributes to leave anybody.
Right.
A world without, because we talked about it last time. We more or less agreed on like Jack Donovan's what makes up a man, and Jack Donovan wrote this book called The Way of Man. The Way of Man. I might be saying that wrong, but it's basically to be considered a man. Traditionally speaking, you have to have mastery over a craft. You have to have courage. You have to have strength, maybe not physically, but emotionally. But the book also causes like traditionally, historically, men and other people respect physical strength. And the last one is you have to be not admired, but you have to be recognized or respectable in your community. These are attributes that I want in everybody. I want everyone to be good at a craft. I want everyone to be strong, whether emotionally or physically. I want them to have the capabilities to be themselves, defend themselves, take care of themselves. So I wouldn't want those to leave. I want a boy who, if I'm not around, and his mom asks him, "Can you take a look at my car?" or "The table's wobbly," or even something that's not traditionally masculine, cooking.
Right.
Which all I know is I'm a great advocate of good food. In fact, I tell my girlfriend to get the hell out of the kitchen so that I can make a better dish, a better meal. Right. I want someone who's reliable around the house, and my daughter too. By the way, I don't want this to be like, oh, we're talking about toxic masculinity, but he's putting all these what's it called?
All these preconceived notions or all these notions, issues or situations on boys.
On boys, but like, I want my young, because I want a girl, and I want my girl to kick some ass. I want this girl to go into judo. I want her to know just about everything I know. Anything that I know that makes you respectable, those 4 things, which aren't unique to just men. I want her to be all those things. I want her to be respected. I want her to know a craft. It doesn't have to be anything like, she could be going to woodworking, and I think it'd be amazing, because I don't know anything about woodworking. I want her to be strong. I want her to be able to defend herself. And I want her to be, like, another thing, like, women aren't supposed to be societally, like, sexually, like, open and stuff.
Right.
I want to be super close to my kids. I want my kid, I maybe not necessarily, but I want my kid to like come into a room, my female daughter, my daughter, to walk into a room and tell me, "Yo, Dad fucking scored last night." Because at least she played it on her terms.
Right.
I never want to hear I was taken advantage of.
Right.
No, baby girl, you made a conscious error and you made a mistake. All right, you scored.
Right.
Not this man got lucky he was with you.
I agree. I think that sort of empowerment that sexual liberty offers is very important. I think that in this day and age, our sexual liberties are kind of being, I don't want to say questioned, but I want to say to an extent limited, because we can really no longer talk, at least comfortably. And then again, I don't think we ever were able to, looking into my family dynamic, my father's side never spoke about sex in any way because they thought of it as a very, very touchy subject, very uncomfortable subject. So my mother taught me that you are more than free and more than okay to talk about absolutely anything with anybody on any given point in time, as long as both of them are okay with speaking about it.
Yeah.
But talking about sex has definitely changed, within the last even 20 to 30 years, maybe even 40 if you consider it, just because of the fact that now, even though we're becoming more liberal about that, that freedom that we have, it's still a very touchy subject in the eyes of the community, in the eyes of society.
A little sidebar. Noel has a subpoena. By the way, we're at our friend Noel's house. And there's a subpoena on his desk.
That he probably hasn't responded to either.
Yeah, probably not. They're gonna come for him. We're gonna be mid. We're making tacos today. We're gonna be mid like grilling some steak, and they're gonna take him to jail. We're gonna finish cooking, and we're gonna bring him food in jail. But Jesus Christ, Noel, get your shit in order.
Seriously.
Sorry, man.
I miss Laura with International Women's Day. That was a good.
Oh, that was a good thing. Oh yeah. Wait, Noel comes in. Let's just tell him.
It's like, hey, Happy International Women's Day, Noel.
It's like, what? It's like, is that today? Let's just pretend it is. They're not gonna know what day we recorded this on.
Yeah, seriously, that's true.
Did we mention the date at the beginning of the podcast? I don't think so.
I don't think it's necessary.
Because then we're gonna be held to like a standard, like, oh, they didn't post today.
Yeah.
No, just let us do our shit.
Let us
guys.
do our shit. God damn
Yeah.
it.
This is not supposed to be work. All right. This is just.
This is fun.
This is fun. I didn't force Ali to be here.
No, never.
No, the first time I did. This time,
Yeah,
this time he came willingly.
Yeah, this time I drove here. The other time the first time he abducted me.
I went. Shut up. Oh, sorry, man. Let's go back to the
No, bro, you're
conversation.
good. So what question do you have up next?
Oh, hey. So mine are gonna be food based, and I'm gonna ask for a special favor.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask that the first two be asked in sequentially.
Okay.
So I want to be because the first one's really, really easy, really simple.
Okay.
It's for me, literally, what I have written down about it is a list.
Okay.
And the next one is kind of like what we're about to do now. I thought it was just a fitting topic for the evening. So my first question is, what food encourages sharing?
What food encourages
People are gonna be
sharing?
like, what kind of fucking
Yeah, what kind of
crappy
fucking
ass
questions,
sunshine
fucking
hippie
podcast
ass
is
podcast is this? It leads up, guys. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
Don't worry, we'll get to something better.
You
later
guys
on.
don't boo Jimmy Fallon when he asks these stars if they like hot dogs or anything.
Yeah, seriously, whatever.
If you do it to me, you're racist, all right? Because
fucking
I'm
terrible.
a beautiful brown man trying to make it in this world, in this podcasting world, and you guys aren't giving me a chance.
You question us, you deserve coronavirus and deserve to die.
Oh, Jesus, no, they're going to get us for that. They're going to come busting down our doors.
Yeah, so the CDC is gonna come knocking.
Yeah.
Okay, so what food encourages sharing? I would definitely venture to say that the type of food that encourages sharing is. Do I have to say in it like a dish?
A
specific
dish that, like, it's meant to be shared. Like, let me give you an example. Like pizza. Like, pizza's sliced up.
I have to say nachos.
Nachos is a good.
I would have to say
When I was
nachos.
doing my research,
110%.
nachos came up a lot. And let me tell you that in my house, touch my nachos
You'll
and
fucking die.
You have my family's liable to send a hitman after you if you
Yeah,
touch it.
that's true. I mean, I just think it's like, it's so easy to grab a chip and, whatever else. And I don't know, it's just, especially when, well, mind you, I think that the issue is that when you share nachos with people that you know,
Okay.
you're going to get your ass beat. But if you share, let's say, you're going out with a group of friends you don't know too well, and you order a big plate of nachos at a Chili's or at another restaurant or whatever, you're
This
forced to
podcast
share.
is brought to you by Chili's. That's
Yes,
not.
exactly.
It really isn't. It's number one. No one's sponsoring us.
Sponsor us, please. Sponsor us.
Send us money.
We're dirt poor.
Our
please.
setup is shit.
So, if you're going out with friends, and you order a big plate of nachos, the plate's gonna be done, but everybody's gonna want to share it without talking shit and without, pointing fingers and stuff. If I share a plate of nachos with you, you're not gonna fucking square up.
Well,
you
you got long ass fingers. I feel like you dig around into like the nachos. It's like, I don't like the onions or the tomatoes in this, and I'd smack the shit out of you.
Yeah,
I like sharing food, and you know this about me. I
know,
love sharing.
I know.
My choice was like I think sushi. Like every time I go with my girl,
sushi's nice.
sushi's a good one. And
because
dumplings.
of the pieces. And
Exactly.
dumplings,
Dumplings.
Anything that, for the most part, any type of food that you can easily, that is kind of, kind of made into small pieces, sushi, dumplings, pizza, whatever.
Yeah.
Where you can literally grab it with your hand. I think that it's also to the simplicity of the food.
Yeah.
The simplicity of the food goes toward how easily it could be shared.
Well, what about like Korean barbecue though? It's not simple food at all.
not
It's
simple
everything,
food.
but it's sliced
true,
really thin.
But it is, you're right. You're
Well,
right.
There's a dish. I'm not sure it's called this, but like it's called the Mongolian hot pot. And I really want to do it for Nona's Kitchen one of these days. Oh God, I hope that doesn't come out. Jesus
It's gonna
Christ,
come
that
out.
burp came
It's
from
gonna-
my stomach.
It's gonna come out.
I hope it does. It'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, it will be. Don't worry.
But it's like this pot that is surrounded by like a mini grill.
Okay.
But there's a broth
Right.
in the center. There's like steaming, not boiling broth.
Okay.
And like you kind of cook like thinly sliced vegetables and meat inside the broth.
Okay.
But it requires you to reach around the table and kind of like ask people to like there is no way you can have a Mongolian hot pot and be on your phone. Because you're at risk of being burned and you have to like talk to the
You have to
person
talk to
next to
people.
you.
Okay.
It's like,
that's
oh,
fair.
hand me that carrot, that sliced carrot, and let me like dip it into like the broth. Or noodles, like
That's more ceremonial, I find.
I-
Because that's more of like that's more not only ceremonial, but to an extent traditional. If you really think about it, I think what I find too is I went to Spain about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I want to say something along those lines, and I found that the culture between them and us is obviously fantastically different, and it's frowned upon to order your own plate in Spain.
Yeah.
Especially if you're traveling with like maybe 3 to 4 people, obviously more than 3 to 4 people. It is frowned upon. You all agree upon a dish that sounds good to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
You order the dish, and the dish is actually entree sized, and all of you pick at it. And all of you talk about how good the food is, and you have conversation. You have wine. Wine is very customary over there. And then you finish the meal. you then again look at the menu and you decide on another dish.
Wow.
So it's very interesting, and no meal was ever not shared in Spain.
Okay.
So, and it's very important, obviously the presentation has to be important for it. It has to be welcoming for it. It has to be welcoming for sharing. Naturally, at least I don't think I will never ever be able to share soup. You can't share soup.
Well, it's not soup.
Like,
I mean,
it's not
it's
soup,
gonna be
but-
like dipping. If you're talking about the
Right.
Mongolian hot pot, you have your own bowl.
You have your own bowl.
You have a cup, and
Right.
obviously you don't double dip. Like
Yeah, that's
I'd kill you.
that's a sin.
No,
It's
no,
a
no, no,
cardinal
no. Sins you have to wait to be punished for.
You'll punish me on the spot.
on the spot.
Got
I'd
it.
break your fingers.
God damn.
I'm not violent.
It's good to know that he's my friend. It's good to know that that I mean something to this monkey of a man.
Fuck you. That could be rude. Fuck you. Don't call me a monkey. I don't like that. Fuck you.
Anyway.
No.
So okay.
No, my feelings are hurt. Fuck you.
Oh, come on.
I'm joking.
We call.
I'm
remember,
joking.
You remember that
Let's,
time?
No,
You
we're
remember
not talking about
Okay,
that. We're not
okay,
talking
okay,
about that.
Okay, that's amongst us.
They're gonna
amongst
be
us.
like, man, his friend group is hella
this
racist.
is fucking weird.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So my second. So
no,
my
wait, but I asked
oh,
you,
you
like,
want to continue?
sequentially. I asked you
Okay,
sequentially.
sequential.
So, does food taste better when it's shared? Does food necessarily taste better? Let's say you get like this amazing dish, and like maybe the second thought you will have if it's amazing, it's a really good dish, is like, I can't wait to bring so and so here,
Right. Oh. Okay.
which I think is a good mark.
Which is a good mark of how good food is.
Yeah.
So ask the question again.
Does sharing food
Mm-hmm.
make it taste better?
Subconsciously, yes, because especially with, and I'll tell you why subconsciously, because it is kind of a group thing. Depending on how well your friends like the food will also impact how you enjoy the food.
Yeah.
Psychologically speaking. So if, let's say that you and I go out for a meal and we order something that we share. And
So tonight, no.
tonight, I mean, will you wine and dine me? I don't know.
I mean, technically, I am later.
Got
but
okay.
this-
Got it, okay.
I almost didn't come today. Like, we had to tickle his asshole a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
Just a
it's a custom of ours to tickle each other's.
I don't know,
assholes.
man. I'm a little tired. Let drop your pants. It's
j-
like,
no,
well,
no. It's like no. Well, I like.
if you're
playing-
gonna
I-
twist my arm,
No, I kind of like playing hard to get. I don't like. I like the.
it's all consensual, guys.
I like the power play.
It's all
So-
consensual. Just we have safe words.
yes. we do.
Pineapple.
mango. So yes, I think that as an example, if you and I go out for a meal
Yeah.
and we end up sharing this meal, if I enjoy it,
Yeah.
but you say you don't like it, then something in my mind is gonna change about the way that food tastes.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's something that happens to a lot of people, but I can at least speak for myself and say that it changes the experience of the food
Yeah.
when other people have opposing opinions to you. As an example, if I don't like food, but you say it's the best thing you've ever tasted, I'm gonna want to give it a second try.
Okay.
So I find that kind of interesting. So maybe in a psychological standpoint, yes, sharing food may better the experience
Yeah.
for everybody involved. As far as maybe tasting is concerned, no. Tasting is concerned, definitely not.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't mean to like sound like everyone always tells me this. You're a little conceited, aren't you? Like, and you talk down on people. I don't. I just
doesn't. He just has
I
a
like
very-
refining my palate.
He has a very particular way of going about and saying things. So
Oh,
that's just,
yeah, but also like I have a particular palate compared to my friends. But it's just because I've worked in the food industry for about maybe 4 or 5 years, and I've had all sorts of food, different qualities of food, and I think when you live that type of life, you've developed a certain taste,
Right.
and you really can't go back to like what you were eating before. Honestly, doesn't matter. Like what you, that's why I said it was interesting to me when you said that. Like it's gonna change the way you view food if I don't like it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Like if you told me honestly, if anybody here told me I don't like that, like Liz doesn't like spicy shit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, wow, spicy shit is terrible.
It's now
or
terrible.
I'm gonna give spicy shit another look. I'm not shitting on you.
No, I know.
But it's
still,
like, but the
and-
experience,
the
what you mentioned is like, it's kind of what I wanted to hit on. I wasn't trying to lead the conversation there,
Right.
but it's kind of what sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's like something I wanted to hit on, that sharing food is almost primordial for human beings. It's the human story. It's the power of a meal, its ability to make friends, to calm enemies, to encourage each other to count each other's blessings. I don't think I've ever had like a dinner without you guys where I haven't looked up from the food. I'm like, oh my, I love seeing you guys around.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to have another one. So I'm always there thankful for you guys. And I think food has that ability to unite us in a way.
But it's also, if you think about it, as an example, this is something that all of you guys could research as well. It's very important. Children who tend to not eat with their parents, sitting down at a dinner table, taking part in what it is to actually make a meal, which includes preparation, it includes cooking, it includes cleaning, and it includes setting up the table.
You can look this up. There are a bunch of logical and research-backed facts that preach the benefits of families eating together. Of
course.
These studies show that these kids not only do better in school, they're less likely to try drugs, they're less likely to get drunk and get jailed, less likely to be obese.
Yeah.
Homemade foods tend to be healthier
by a substantial amount. And it's also the fact that you also end up developing better relations with your family members. That is also a very important experience for eating together.
Hell yeah.
Especially with your parents, yes, but even amongst friends, especially friends that like to help each other out. You always have that slacker friend that as a result of them slacking, it's like.
No, he's
Mo's partner. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So
I'm not. My cooking partner.
Okay. So basically,
wait, let me take this phone call from Noel.
Okay.
By the way, look at the background.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus Christ. Keep talking. Well, actually no, because I'm gonna be on the phone.
Okay.
What up? I don't think so. We're recording the podcast right now. You're kind of like interrupting us. Yeah. Thank you. No, yeah, man. Just let me know when you're coming. So when you guys get into the room, because we're recording it inside your room, try to be quiet, please. I mean, you guys can talk. Like, it's kind of funny to have other people here. Like, try to. Alec, can you take a note of the timestamp just to so I can take this out? All right,
427, 426 to 427, most likely.
The timestamp on the.
On the actual computer.
So it's around 21 minutes. Just have that in the back of your mind. So
21 minutes. Right.
When I edit this later.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the benefits of eating in groups is always going to, make relationships a lot stronger, whether it be with friends, with significant others, with family members, etc. Because usually these conversations that you tend to lead into when you're eating, especially when you enjoy everybody's company. As an example, you and I have had conversations with all the other people that
over chicken nuggets,
over something as stupid and minimalistic as chicken nuggets.
Jesus Christ.
And we can sit down for an hour saying how, we like to prepare it, what type we hate, what
Do you want something really funny?
What?
The first conversation I ever had with you was about food.
Oh my God.
I'm not even joking. I don't know if you remember that. It was in the cafe. We were in the cafeteria.
Yeah, he's right.
The benefit of food. And I was cracking jokes about McDonald's. And Ali was dying.
I was dying. I really was. And then a lifelong friendship ensued. And here we are, a good, what?
6
years later.
6 years later.
It's been a long
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I remember we exercise very, very, quite a bit. Both of us do. And there was ever since our high school years, there was a time, and we used to take the Metro Rail together to get home.
Metro Rail, for those of you who don't live in Miami, is our public train system. And it sucks.
And it sucks. It really does. It takes a long time to get, from one place to the next. But, the good thing was one day we went to Wendy's by our high school and we bought a 50-count chicken nugget order from Wendy's.
And Frosties. I think we got Frosties.
And we proceeded to walk to the Metro Rail station, picking at the chicken nuggets, and I think we ended up eating it all by our stop.
I took it. We went to your stop that day.
Oh, okay.
We went to your stop, and I took the train back home
because we needed more time to eat the chicken nuggets.
No, I think we were getting sick. I think we had diarrhea that day. All right, but back to the question at hand, Ale. Sorry, I don't.
No, you're good.
It's a nice little question.
It is.
Have you ever noticed just how as kids we imitate our parents at the dinner table, like little girls and little boys, they make mud pies and they try to mimic the act of eating together.
Yes.
Like it's so ingrained in us. Birthday parties or celebrations are marked by what? Sweets.
Yeah.
It's part of everything we do, and you can't tell me eating is about survival when we connect celebrations with sweets and grand festivities.
Right.
Dude, food follows food follows us to the afterlife. Offerings in like Japan, like in Shinto religions, every day, fresh miso soup, grilled fish, cup of rice.
Indeed. In Egyptian,
So that-
in
exactly,
Egyptian,
so
Egyptian
that-
ceremonies is very important.
So that the ancestors don't go hungry or something.
course.
That's probably not really scientific or cultural,
but it's
no, the way I said it. Not that obviously
okay.
it's religion.
I mean, yeah, if you really think about it, as an example, in Egyptian mythology or in Egyptian history, you're supposed to, not only are you, when a person dies, especially, as an example, a pharaoh, a person of great importance, you're supposed to send with them some money for the afterlife. So usually jewels or pendants or whatever the case may be, so they can sell it, they can have some money in the afterlife, but they also have to send food. So that along the way, to wherever it is that they're going, they just so happen to get hungry, they could munch on something.
Oh God.
So it's tremendously important. Also what you said about eating not being
Just about, there's always somebody who's like, I eat to live, not I don't live to eat. I hate that.
And I understand it because then that that behavior then does lead into some problematic points. But the issue is that no, you don't eat. You don't live to eat, and you don't eat to live. However, people who do say that you eat for survival and survival alone is not the case, because if you really think about it, dessert is not survival.
Okay,
You don't stop and think about what you're gonna have for dessert based merely on survival. Also, if you eat to survive, you don't eat to the extent that everyday people eat. Everyday people tend to eat until they're full.
You're not going to tell me that, because it's not just about taste, but even if it's about just for you, if you're the type of person who they're eating anything is about survival, at the very least you have to tout the benefits. We were talking about it just recently, just now,
Right.
about eating together.
Right.
It not only does not eating together destroy, I think, in my opinion, destroy families, or you lose that special familial connection. Everyone should appreciate the ability or the power that a meal has of bringing people together.
Right.
The example I wanted to tout, which actually eludes me right now, but this is just a good bouncing off point. What do you think about this? I'm gonna name a statistic.
Okay.
Americans spend just about as much money on fast food as they do on groceries weekly.
That naturally, from my standpoint, that's incredibly problematic.
Oh,
Not
this is a
only-
real statistic. I think the World Health Organization did a study on it. You guys can look it up later, but it's really concerning.
It's haunting, because if you really think about it, not only you can say a million and one things about it. Number one, the nutritional aspect of it.
Jesus
I mean,
Christ,
that's where the obesity is coming in. If people are spending just as much money as on fast food as there are on groceries, that means that a good 50% of those people, or a good chunk of those people, are likely overweight, or if not overweight, they have medical issues.
Yeah.
They have they have problems with their health or whatever the case may be. But then again, you could also argue that at least there's still a good chunk of families that are eating at home. Because fast food is very popular.
fast food is very popular, but like it doesn't really. It's fast food.
It's fast food.
You don't take a lot of time to eat it.
Right.
And obviously, if you're getting fast food, you're not about to sit down and have a meal.
Exactly.
You know?
Everybody's gonna either, everybody will likely go to their corner, eat their food, and just,
We're not talking for everybody, but
Right.
if everyone at the house gets McDonald's, that's 5 minutes at most.
right.
You can mud a Big Mac and large fries and a
you
large
can-
soda in
yeah,
5
You
minutes.
can scoff that down in a good 5-10 minutes, and then you're done. You don't have to clean the kitchen. You
And
don't
then
have
you
to
get
pick
the
up
itis.
anything,
And then you get the
and then you
itis.
get the
And then
itis.
everyone goes to bed or they go
Yes.
somewhere else
Exactly.
to what? To burn off the
To
food?
burn off the food and not do anything.
And they feel groggy and they don't feel good.
Right.
Which is another thing, which also promotes, it's actually the opposite of promotes unity. Promotes, you don't have the energy to be together. And it takes, obviously, we're not going to start here and say it's effortless to be around people you love. It takes energy to do that as well.
Right.
But you don't have that after you mud a Big Mac
Yeah.
or 50-piece McNuggets.
Don't attack us like that. Don't attack us like
Don't,
that.
please don't. We love 50-piece McNuggets.
Yes, we do.
But
So
even we don't do that every day.
yeah,
It's a
that's
treat.
that's a treat. That's something that if you like, you should be able to have it, but naturally you have it like anything else in moderation.
Ever consider the grocery bill? With a carton of eggs, you can make 4 omelets.
Of course you can.
But at a restaurant, how much is an omelet going to cost you?
Yeah.
$14
$14
minimum, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere you go for a
Especially
good omelet,
for a good omelet, yes.
$14 for an omelet, which is just a special way to fold eggs.
Yes, it
mind you,
is.
that anybody can do.
You know that they're probably using what, maybe 5 to 6 eggs on average.
Probably less than
Probably
that. They
less than
probably
that.
fill it up with like potatoes and
Yes,
spinach or
exactly.
like little carnitas and ham.
You know,
And
so if anything,
whereas okay, so if you at home with a carton of eggs, which at most is going to be $3-4,
yes,
and you're paying almost 3 times that much
Yes.
at a restaurant.
just to have it be brought to you, you know, and things like that, and to have the service. But
A man in an apron with some greasy hands,
exactly,
folding some eggs.
exactly.
You can easily do it
You
yourself.
can easily do it at home with yourself, with your family, surrounded by the people that you love. However, there is something to be said about eating in restaurants as well.
Oh, of course. Okay.
You know, like that too is very fun.
You can't if you know me eating restaurants, but it's a thing it's occasional.
Yes.
And ordering out could be said it's the same thing as eating at a restaurant.
Yes, indeed.
Because with the advent of the invention of Uber Eats,
Eats
and
and-
Postmates, which
yes.
I am guilty but I am guilty of ordering daily, almost daily. I order from Postmates, Uber Eats, Grubhub almost daily for my lunch because I don't like anything in my area.
Right.
It's just so it's not supposed to be every day. Like before, obesity. We mentioned obesity. Homemade meals are healthier.
Yes, they are. They really are. They tend to be more filling. You tend to be able to control the way that you eat.
Everything
a
you
lot
add to it.
more. You know, I mean, if you really think about it, you know, you go to a restaurant. What's the first thing they tend to bring you? They'll bring you bread. You know, to
Carb
kind
heavy.
of, you know, carb heavy, right?
Bread
Calorie heavy.
with butter.
With butter.
With
You know,
butter.
with straight butter. The next thing that they ask you is, would you like an appetizer? An appetizer then goes ahead, you know, you start filling up even more. You have an entree that could easily fill you up, but with the, you know, with you eating pieces of bread, an appetizer, then an entree, then you can't stop there, you have to go to dessert.
Exactly.
You know, it's a never-ending cycle. Whereas when you eat at home, you get to serve yourself exactly what you know you will enjoy to eat, and you will not.
How much you know is healthy
for you, and how much you know will fulfill you and will make you feel, you know, good
Yeah.
when you eat it.
Look, I'm guilty of spending. I think the max I paid for food on my own, just for me, is $219 for a special dish prepared by a sushi chef here in. Or I had to pre-order. I had to like make reservations 6 months in advance and go to this room that only 14 people like once a week are allowed. And is it worth it? Hell yeah. But I'm not gonna do this every week.
Day.
Every day or
week.
even every week. Once a month is too much.
It's too much. You know,
And
I
like
mean,
you're eating, I promise you, 3,000 calories.
Yeah, no, 110%. I mean, you also, you know, when you really think about the mystery of eating at a restaurant, you know, you never know what it is that the people in the back are really throwing into your food.
That's
you
always
know?
been a thing of
and
mine.
that's always been a fear of mine. It's like, what are they doing back there? Are they washing their hands? Are they handling the food properly? Are they, you know, just throwing whatever they can into it, or are they actually thinking about?
You can more or less expect that from like more expensive restaurants.
course.
But like you don't
But you
really
don't but you
trust
won't-
like mid-level and low
No.
like Wingstop.
Of course not.
I mutt Wingstop wings. I love Wingstop wings. That gives you the power to bench press 300 and squat 450 pounds. I'm at 450 pounds now, by the way.
He can't. He waddles. He waddles out of the gym.
That's actually not true. I grossly
He crawls.
I grossly I grossly exaggerate for the purpose of comedy.
Yeah.
But it's honest. Well, it's just I know for a fact they don't throw away the gloves at Wingstop. I know.
Yeah. And you know that the teenager that works at Wingstop, who's at high
Doesn't
school,
care
who's
about
exhausted, doesn't
hygiene.
give half a shit.
He doesn't care. He's about to start an epidemic
exactly you know?
amongst the Hispanic and Black
know, like-
communities.
because
This man doesn't care if he's throwing moldy bread underneath those
nobody
gorgeous
cares.
wings. No,
Nobody cares.
he's not paid enough to give a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand that, but
Yeah.
back we're derailing a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you want to ask your question,
All right.
go ahead.
So my second question is, you know, completely on a side note from what we've been talking about. If you could tell your younger self one thing, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10-year-old, 12-year-old you know, one thing that you've learned, what would you tell them?
Coño.
Like your age now, you're 22, I'm 22.
Okay.
You know, like what would we tell our younger selves? This is some soul searching fucking question. This is the question that I got up at 3:00 in the morning for.
Jesus Christ.
Out of a lucid sleep, out of a sleep that I have not had in weeks. I woke up at 3:00 in the morning and I said, "Oh my God, I have the question, ladies and gentlemen." And then I proceeded to write it on my phone, on my shitty ass $700 phone, and I went right back to sleep. Thank you very much. But I think it's a very, very, very important question.
Yeah.
You know.
Two things come to mind. And if I can say two things, am I allowed to say two things?
Yes.
Okay. Comparison, and you know this, everyone. Apparently, I say this so often. Liz is starting to repeat it.
Okay.
Because Noel was like, Liz says that. I'm like, no, I say that. Liz
what
copied me.
What do you guys say?
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is okay.
The Theodore Roosevelt quote that I'm always spouting.
Fair enough.
We spend a lot of I do. All right. I used to spend a lot of time comparing myself and my situations to other people and getting angry about it.
Right.
It wasn't until I grew this, I realized that was the angry. I used to ask Alejandro. I used to be so fucking angry. It's not like much has changed now, but at least I have it,
Under control.
under control.
Right.
That's not sustainable though. Jesus Christ, I was so angry for being 16. So angry just because I was jealous about all the other things my friends had over me. I didn't come from the best background. My parents did the best they could, but my situation wasn't always the best, and I'm not the calmest person, and I'm very rebellious. So I found a lot of trouble for myself.
Right.
But I always blamed others because they had things I didn't, and I know that's not fair, but 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds don't know this shit. You know, they don't have that moral integrity or that compass, or ingenuity or whatever you want to give it.
Or just the quality of thought.
Exactly.
It's the quality of thought that
ability
really
to
matters.
think that far ahead, to include everyone in your thinking process.
Exactly.
Which is just not yourself, which is incredibly it's selfish at best.
Exactly.
But I realized that I was putting myself in an emotional mindset that wasn't healthy for me and the people around me. Honestly, I'm surprised that many people stuck around me.
Right.
Despite through that process.
The thing was that you were good to the people that you deserved for you to be good to them. You know, I mean, I think that's why we all ended up sticking around. But, I understand that. I really do. I mean, mind you, there are a lot of people that have much more than you.
Yeah.
And that had much more than you. And still ended up, comparing themselves to others. And I'm sure that especially among younger demographics and things like that, is inevitable.
We don't know any better. But I remember the reason I tell myself is because you remember my big back injury, right?
Yes.
And like 1 minute, 1 day, 1 month to the next, I was a completely different person. I used to bodybuild and powerlift back in high school. Was it 10th, 11th grade?
Yes.
And I was enormous. But I started focusing on like the weirdest, like my chest muscles a lot more than my back, and I developed something called muscle imbalance. I was trying to row 400 pounds on the bar. And I pulled something very close to the point of tearing. I didn't go to the doctor for like a year.
Yeah.
I lived with chronic pain every day as my back muscles, my neck muscles were atrophying. Because back to like original question, toxic masculinity. I didn't want to seek help. Because I've always been this super independent person, and I was proud of where I got into myself. And I kept thinking if I do things the way I used to, things were going to get better. And they never did. Never did until finally I accepted help. I did the research. I found out what was wrong with me. But even then, I was not in this place that was emotionally safe for myself because I kept comparing myself to the person I was.
Right.
It wasn't until I read this mantra, which is it's my mantra now. It's my mantra now. There's these words where I was like, Jesus, man, let it go. Literally, I always tell you about this, the fuck it attitude.
Yes.
The fuck it attitude.
Very
Just,
important.
Jesus Christ.
Very important.
Literally, the moment you decide, fuck it, it's so liberating.
It's liberating. It really is. It takes weight off your shoulders. It
It's
really
it's
does.
this like adult growing process
Yes.
that no one tells you about, or rather, they do tell you about it, but you just don't.
But you
believe
don't.
them.
You don't get it because it's. I mean, if you really think about it, the word "fuck it," especially now.
Yeah.
In the age that we're in. It means so much more than I'm sure what we used to think it meant.
Sure.
When we were younger.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the gravity of the phrase is far different now.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. The ability to say fuck it, or the ability to say screw it. I'll do it. I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out another time, or whatever the case may be, so that you could breathe.
Yes.
So you could kind of relax a little bit. It's very important.
Oh God, yeah.
It's fantastically important. So I really do understand that. And so you would tell your younger self, what
That
the
one?
fuck it mentality?
The fuck it, the fucking mentality, and because it's just a more crass way of saying comparison is the thief of joy.
Right. Okay.
You're stealing happiness from yourself
Right.
at this point. You're working against you.
Agreed.
The point I'm trying to make, I think Noel and Liz are here.
Noel's here.
I think that the second thing I would tell my younger self was don't freak out about healing. Like from all I know is I burn out once a year.
Yeah.
I do a lot of things
He
in my
works
life.
himself
I
a little too
love
hard.
it. I can't stand not doing anything. It works against me always. Every year. I don't learn my lesson in this. I don't know when to take a break. Literally, the last time I had to take a break was rough times. I literally ran away from everything in my life for 2 weeks to travel the Eastern Seaboard because I needed to get away from myself. I wanted to rush because like when something like that happens, things are gonna get better.
Yeah.
But you want it to get better
Now.
You're like,
in this very
I know
instant.
it and I have hope for that.
Yes.
But why isn't it now? I know that it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. Why isn't it now? I want it now. It never comes, and like this rushing thing, like you start to literally, I think you like this mental, like that. You get to like
It starts eating at
out.
you.
It starts eating at you. You start to hate yourself. It's like, why aren't I feeling it? I'm gonna give an example of like really when this was like. Well, I'm gonna get a little deep here. If like Noel Bub burst in right now,
It's gonna burst our fucking bubble.
we're gonna be talking about something like super serious. When I was in that depression, this was before I ran away, and literally I was going through panic attacks every day. I had destroyed my body physically and exhausted my mind mentally. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna hit the gym the way I'm supposed to. Work through muscle and balance. Go to yoga. I started doing yoga. I started doing my mantras again. I started like going breathing exercises. I started going out. I started dressing right. I started doing everything I knew that I needed to help myself. And remember, I told you that I was a friend of mine, a friend of a friend. I went to a party with this girl who I was kind of seeing at the time, and the friend of the friend gave me Molly. It gave me Molly, and it mimics. It's supposed to excite you, right? I forget what other type of drug it's called.
It's
an accelerant.
No, it's a man. It's escaping me too. It's
right.
It's an upper. It's what's called. It's an upper.
It's an upper.
For the lack of a better word.
It's an upper, and I didn't know because, by the way, he gave it to me. I did not consent, and I couldn't stop freaking out because people who are like prone to panic attacks and these anxiety attacks like aren't even supposed to have caffeine.
Yes.
That freaks them out, and I was
does.
so sensitive and so like peeled back at this point that even caffeine had negative effects on me.
Right.
Imagine Molly. Dude, the things I did that night. And literally, I got to this point where I honestly thought, like, why did I work so hard this entire month? Why did I work so hard and did all these things when it's not working? I had no idea what was in my system.
Yeah.
I literally told myself, if I don't get better tonight, I'm going to kill myself. It was literally one of those things where my brother who's always been so fucking hard on me to reach whatever he sees, like unseen potential, whatever, came over. He took me to the ER. He sat with me the entire night. I called up my yoga instructor at the time, and I told him he was closed that weekend. And I told him I need to be unfurled. I'm so tense. And he's like, for you, anything. And we did it a round. And at the point I calmed myself down, I went back to that guy's house and I socked him in the face. Ale,
For good reason.
I was at Ale, I literally meant it. I was gonna kill myself.
Yeah, I know. That was a low point.
That was a super low point.
Very low point.
All right, let's turn it back to you. What would you say to your younger self?
Well, just to give Noel context.
Oh yeah,
Noel on this,
we
so
have
they
we
walked
have
in.
two guests. We have two guests, not guests of the podcast. They're just here.
So my question was, if you had one thing to tell your younger self, what would you tell him? Or like at this day and age right now, like you're 22 years old, what would you tell your, high school or middle school self? So
I just finished mine.
yeah, so,
and
Ale's
Ale's gonna go.
So his was saying, the fuck it mentality. Develop the fuck it mentality a little bit
The
more.
comparison is the thief of joy.
Right.
And
So
when you're in a place where you're hurt, don't try to rush the healing process.
right.
Be patient about it.
So I think that
You
what
can
I-
speak, by the way.
Yeah, you can talk. 'Cause
Yeah.
So,
Noel, this is your house.
yeah, seriously, we're invading his space and he doesn't want to talk.
Yeah.
So I think that what I would tell my younger self is that as I had a very big issue with confidence in my and this
the
was
fucking mic picked up Liz crunching into a cookie. That shit spiked.
she's freaking out right now because she's
You
scared.
see the green? Like it hit that red. Like watch this. It hit the red zone. It did.
She's trying not to chew right now because she's scared.
No, Liz, I can delete it afterwards.
Yeah.
You guys, it's
So
fine.
I think that, something that I know it's very, very commonplace, especially among younger, demographics and younger kids, but, it was very special to me was my issue with confidence. I felt like I was, as Cubans say it, there's a phrase that is kind of like it's a sin to say it, and it's cero a la izquierda, which means you're not at 0, you're at -1.
Oh God.
It's a very, very, very strong phrase.
Yeah.
And you call anybody a cero a la izquierda, and it's pretty much you deserve to go to hell. As
That's
far
like
it's
someone's pissed you
that's
off.
somebody pissed you off, and yeah, it's
Okay.
very bad. It's a very bad phrase. So, my issue with confidence, haunted me through middle school, through high school, through my first year of college, and then finally I got to, a better place. But, I got to a better place as a result of exercise. I got to a better place as a result of studying something that I knew I was good at.
Yeah.
And now I could definitely say that well, I mean, that's, for context, I'm a firefighter paramedic. And that to me is very, it speaks volumes, because I didn't think I was ever going to achieve, half the stuff that I was able to achieve. But, at the end of the day, exercise, better self-image, kind of understanding the fact that confidence does not come from one day to the next, it really did help. So if I were to, tell myself anything, it's that, to relax, to understand the fact that it's a process, and not exactly that same thing that you said, going back to what you said, I want it now.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Not in a million freaking years.
Is it just because kids rush? You think it's because of
Yes,
that?
it's because kids, I think, that are innately impatient. It's impatience.
Yeah.
It's a lack of patience, and the patience only comes
Or
in.
that they're not sure what's at the other side because they've never seen
Because
it.
they've never seen it. So that was exactly what was happening to me. It was the fact that I never thought that I was gonna be confident. I never thought that I was gonna, think the way that I do, act the way that I do under pressure and things like that.
Yeah.
And that is monumentally important to
Oh
me.
yeah, the
So,
inner peace.
The inner peace
The
that you
inner peace.
get, knowing that.
Not to sound like a hippie, but like the inner peace.
But it's true. And especially the self-assurance that if something happens in front of you, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to manage the situation with as little stress as humanly possible. And, it's not only confidence in how you look, because, like Moises said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm a tall, very large-headed man.
It's enormous.
My head is freaking
Jesus, one
huge.
strong gust of wind in the head cracks off that neck.
So I have a very big
He's
head.
very handsome too.
Thank you.
Just not sorry. Just like I don't think I'm a fucking troll or anything.
Nah,
Jesus
it's,
Christ.
but I
No, I don't find large, heavy, large-headed, tall boys off the street and make them my friends. No, good-looking kid. Good-looking kid.
So it was. I not only was it physical confidence that I was lacking, it was confidence in speaking. It was confidence in being self-assured in in my thoughts and in my actions, and every single thought that I had, I would double back on myself and say, man, is that really a good thought? Or, I would do something, and I would say, man, was that a good thing to have done? Questioning myself was very commonplace. It was part of every day. It was like eating breakfast. It was like, breathing. It was all that stuff, so it was very difficult. And then, I think it was my schooling that really ended up giving me the confidence to be the person that I am today, especially in the fire academy. In the fire academy, they destroy you and they build you right back up again. They said our job is to, mold you into what departments want to see, and, they want to see strength. They want to see confidence. They want to see you at your very best every single second of every minute of every day.
Structure, I think it's very like
Yes,
people go like to the army and stuff. They come back,
Of course.
and they're like, parents look at these like cadets like
Yes.
after boot camp. They're like, "Where's my son?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? It's
Lost weight. They're disciplined. They're hardened. They're different products.
There's something to
They're
be
products.
said. It is, and it's
They're cut gems.
And you know what? The word product that actually sparked something that's very vivid to me. My academy class had a lot of problems with growth and with improvement.
Okay.
And one of our instructors, one of the instructors that we really didn't see incredibly often, but did keep up with us, quite a bit because he wanted to see us succeed. he got angry at our instructors because our main instructors, he felt, this, for all intents and purposes, this instructor that I'm talking about that we didn't see incredibly often, his name's Instructor Lance.
Okay.
And Instructor Lance walked
Maybe
up
we
to,
shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't say names.
Okay, so Juan, Pepito,
Sure,
Pepito. Whatever. So Pepito, he contacted our main instructors and said, "You guys aren't doing shit right. You guys are not, you guys aren't teaching these guys right, and that's why they're having trouble progressing because we have never had an issue with this. But this is the first time that you guys are lead instructors."
Oh, wow.
So he said, "This is not the way this is supposed to be going." He said, "I'm trying to make a good product. I'm trying to make a good product out of these students, out of these people that want to be like us.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, every single instructor in a fire academy is already a firefighter.
Yeah.
And has been a firefighter for a long time. They have experience.
Who else would it be, though?
Who else would it be? Let's be honest. There's no, there's every person who's going into a schooling process or a schooling, time should be taught by people in their own field. That is very important.
You gotta respect the
You
process.
gotta respect the process.
And anything. Growing up is a process.
It is, and mind you, we think that, if we've become a lot more level-headed, but if you think that, the growth stops here, the growth never stops. The ability to be even more relaxed, to experience even more growth, to experience even more, good things coming about age and experience, it's almost constant. It's never stopping, and it continues throughout your life, and it continues throughout your experience on this earth. So we've come out of our own kind of hells, our own personal hells, and naturally you will experience other hells in the future.
Yeah.
And it's the
I was trying to find a quote. That's why I was on my phone.
Right.
That if you don't change every 10 years, you've wasted 10 years.
Yes.
I couldn't find anybody, but I found a quote by Napoleon Bonaparte. One must change one's tactic every 10 years if one wishes to maintain one's superiority.
Mm-hmm.
Superiority. There we go.
So, it's, I think that especially now, speaking about the younger generation, it's the fact that if you think that, that what you're experiencing now is the worst thing you'll ever experience, it's not.
No,
By
and
any extent
we're
of the
new to the
imagination.
game.
We are. We've gone through,
rubes.
we've gone through our fair share of shit, and I think that we can both say with the utmost certainty that we have not scratched the damn surface of what we're gonna experience.
Hell no. Jesus, I just want to die, man. Just let me get to the end of it. Jesus, stop tempting me with these car crashes and
With this
pneumonia
virus,
and this coronavirus. Just fucking wreck me
God.
already. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I think it's all part of the fun.
Sure. I think it's all part of the fun.
Yeah. Then again, I'm fucked up beyond repair.
Yeah.
So
you have another question? Or?
Actually, no, I don't.
Then let's just end on mine.
Okay.
So back to the food thing. I know that we went
took a
around.
turn-
I really
this
should
took
have.
a sharp
We really
ass
just.
turn.
Maybe we should do like one topic.
Yeah, instead of
so it's
jumping.
all connected.
It's like food, death, and despair.
It's like-
back to food.
It's like I can't wait to die. Anyway,
back to something that actually gives
back
us
to
happiness.
tacos. Can food divide us?
Yes.
Oh God, dude!
Yes.
Literally, the research I just put into this.
100%.
You mind if I speak about it just for a
Yes,
little bit?
go
Just
ahead,
like
go ahead.
I looked into it, and I want to hear your opinion about it. Obviously,
Okay.
It's like I've touted like before the power of a meal to unite people, and we literally spent like 20 minutes talking about the benefits of eating together.
Yes.
But I was reading like about the Indian caste system,
Mm-hmm.
about like anyone who doesn't know about the Indian caste system, it's like a system that's used to divide people in certain categories based on purity. I think it was. Like,
Yes,
it's a
it
big
was.
thing.
Yes.
And I didn't know it extended all the way to like who made your meal
Yes.
and like the type of meal it was. So purity is like anything in this regard, anything that has to do with like, maybe it's easier to describe the opposite of purity. It's anything that's plain normal. Like rice is considered impure. It's considered uta. I found out it's considered impure. And if you just eat rice, if you're poor and just eat rice, you're filthy. Which is, let's not get into like the socialist argument behind that. But what was it looking up? Like, Jesus, I had it written down in front of me. Buka, like the opposite, like fried foods, things that like take a lot of like ghee over there is pretty hard to get, but like food that's made with ghee is like purified by this sacred butter. They call it, ghee is considered sacred butter over there, and only people who have access to this are the Brahim Like Brahims can only eat meals made by other Brahims.
That's kind of
Like because Brahims, because they're so pure, they can't
they can't
contaminate anybody.
They can't possibly stoop down to
Exactly.
the
But like if they eat food made by someone a rung lower,
yes,
they're that now,
Yeah.
and that's so fucking crazy
it's
to
disturbing.
me.
It's disturbing. I mean, it's also the fact that if you think about it, food also divides. Well, like we said, it divides not only financial, kind of financial groups, but it also divides religious groups and things like that. If you really think about it, there's a phrase in my household that it's kind of one of our favorite foods. It's white rice and fried eggs on top.
You're impure. You're impure.
And you cut it up,
No.
whatever. It's a very Cuban dish. It's
Nah,
fantastically Cuban.
This is why I'm cooking today. You see?
And that in
You comfy over there, Liz?
in Cuba is called comida de puta.
But you see what I mean?
You know, so because and comida de puta meaning it's a whore's food because of the fact that it's so easy to prepare, it's so cheap, and anybody can do it.
Let me make you some saffron rice with some quail eggs. Let's see if we say the same shit though.
Mo's gonna he's
I swear to God, I hate it. It's not even because even like me and Noel were talking about this yesterday. Was it yesterday? We were talking about why is some food considered like super authentic and like the height of class, like French and Italian food. Have you ever had like it's a fritanga dish called a completa?
Yes.
A completa is you've had a completa.
Yes.
It's so much included and it's so cheap. It's like $12, $14 and you can feed 2 people with one completa.
Yeah.
It consists of like fried rice and beans, plátano maduro, which is fried plantains, the sweet ones, tortilla, which is like a corn flatbread, like skirt steak. It's really really good. It's so a lot of effort is put into it flavor wise.
which is when you see the
But-
difference between effort being placed
But
in
$14 at
comida
like
de
a
puta
French
versus,
exactly. But $14 at a French or Italian restaurant doesn't get you anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't get you an appetizer.
Of course not.
It gets you half a fucking appetizer. I love, by the way, in terms of completely Italian food and Japanese food for me, it does it for me. It's in terms of overall dish
I'm
quality.
not a huge Italian food person. I'm not a huge
Go to
pasta
hell.
person.
honestly, you've insulted me. You've insulted me and my family.
I just don't like pasta too much.
There's more
but
to
there's
fucking.
more to it. Yes, I know.
Jesus,
there's more
you
to
racist fuck. There's more to fucking
Pull the
Italian
racist
food.
card. He has
There's
to
more
pull the
than
racist card at least
Italian food.
once on
I
the
am the only
podcast.
one in this room who can use it. Noel sometimes because he's tan.
No, he's whiter than me.
Stop yelling into the
He's
mic.
okay, you're right. He's whiter than me.
There we go. Whiter than you. Este negro.
No, he's
I thought he was adopted. The first time I came, I thought he was adopted.
anyway. But
But like,
Yeah.
dude, I love French
Japanese
food. I
food.
love French food, but I
French
don't
food's good.
feel like it's like with Spanish food. Like every individual aspect of Spanish and French food, amazing.
yes,
Add it all
Yes.
together, it's too rich.
yes,
It's too rich.
It's very true.
I think if I give me fucking saltines and jamón serrano any day,
Yes.
with a little bit of manchego, simple. But they don't just do that over there. They're like they bring olives to the table, whole roast pig, tortilla de huevo.
You'd be surprised when you go to Spain, especially for breakfast.
Yes.
And it's very customary. Jamón serrano is very customary. They literally have a giant knife, that they use to cut this ham,
Yeah.
and right behind, right behind where they charge you for the meal,
Yeah.
they have this frame where they put the
Yes.
actual leg of the ham up there. And they take the knife. They literally, you want an order of jamón serrano, they turn around and they slice, 2 little pieces of it. They throw it on a plate. Here you go. The simplest preparation for it.
No, not the simplest
But
preparation.
it's
Because
so-
that leg's been hanging there for 2
Right,
years.
for 2 years. But it's good food.
It's amazing.
It's
food.
amazing
But just
food.
imagine having jamón serrano at the table, and then having sausages, and then olives,
Yeah.
and then tortilla de pollo, and then papa, however they make it, and then squid on the side. That's not a balanced meal.
Yeah, it's not.
And you know me, my meals are all about balance.
Agreed.
And for me, that's my particular like I don't know.
It's his calling card.
Yeah, it's my calling
his
card. It's my pet peeve about food.
Yeah.
I think Italian food and Japanese food does it the best. But also like why it's this like Eurocentric superiority complex that Europe has because they've had like the most advanced civilization for many years. They're able to sell their products. Not to say that they don't have amazing products, but at a much higher like think about it. Me and what we're talking about it. It took 60, 80 years after the invention of Michelin stars for a Japanese restaurant to get it, and they put just as much effort into their food, into the freshness and quality of their food that any French or Italian person does.
That's true.
But like, it's just because Michelin only extends to like.
Yeah.
If we look at the amount of restaurants in Europe or like here that are run by European chefs that have Michelin stars versus Asian and South African, South American chefs, the difference is staggering. So there's already like there's cultural and like class divisions
divisions, yeah.
already
And
with the
skill
Indian,
division.
yeah.
You know, I mean, especially, I mean, skill division too. You know, I'm sure that if, I mean,
Dude,
do you know how?
you know
I
how
mean,
long it takes to make soy sauce?
or sushi?
No,
Do you
no,
know how
but-
much patience and how much time it takes to actually
To
make
train
to
train to become a sushi chef.
Yes, it's very, and you know, it's and it all does come down to training at the end of
10
the day.
years to learn how to wash rice.
Yes.
10 years.
Yes. And then, you know, God knows how much longer to pick out the right ingredients for whatever roll that you're about to make, or, you know, to not mess up the roll.
And
or,
to keep with tradition as well, and then somehow be a maverick but keep with tradition.
Yes. It's
Explain that to me.
No, it's
Explain
and
to
it's
me how
very-
they
and-
don't-
but
they
that's
don't
why they're
get the
the
same-
But that's why they're the elite.
Exactly.
they're the
And they get
elite.
to decide.
Yes.
And they decided that those Eurocentric ideas and foods that they want to keep on the forefront of every market
Right.
should remain supreme.
Exactly.
Not only that, like in the U.S., how our parties view like the conservation of food or the conservation of like lands that we use for farming
Right.
is completely different. Like we have the liberals who decide that, who want us to conserve lands, not use them as much, to rotate crops.
Right.
Whereas in, I don't know, the point or the point of conflict for, let's say, a more conservative person is profit. Both of them make sense to me. Both of them, like, yeah, farmers should be able to make a profit, but they should be able to sustain their land.
Sustain their land. Right.
Because what happens, like, a farmer might own, I don't know, 500,000 acres. He ruins it. Where are you going to find another 1,000,000 acres?
Yes.
So I tend to side with the more liberal side with that. But also, I'm not going to tell no one not to make any money.
Not to make a buck.
But people, literally, it's a thing, Alejandro. Like, I was watching this Vice reporting. John Deere owns the patents for certain computer programs that are necessary to fix or to diagnose the largest tractors these farmers have.
Right.
So when something breaks, and like I said before, these people own millions of acres. They have to drive the nearest 500 miles, 60, 90 miles, the nearest John Deere facility in order to get it fixed. There might be some ordained part that John Deere is able to price fix and choose the price for their labor as well as for the part. So already to fix a tractor that cost you, and by the way, John Deere tractors, the industrial ones, are millions of dollars.
Massively expensive.
To repair it, it's another 100,000. Farmers don't make that much money to begin with.
Exactly.
Everyone's known for it's the biggest known secret out there in DC. Farmers are dying off because we don't pay them enough.
Yeah.
And now there's a company who's screwing them over because it's illegal to fix these tractors. It's literally a law. You can't self-fix these tractors. You have to take them to John Deere.
They monopolize it.
How much money do you save by fixing it yourself? If anyone's ever had like a rickety ass car,
And how
they
much
know.
time- How much time do you take? How much time does it take you? You know, how
You can do it on your own fucking farm with spare parts.
Exactly.
These tractors, literally, they touted the tractors that their grandparents had. They're like, Grandpapa used to ride that to ring in the sheep in the morning, and it
Right.
still works.
And it still works.
Because they slowly built up on it, but you literally can't do that. You try to introduce a foreign part to a John Deere industrial tractor, the system won't start. Jesus Christ, Noel.
God damn it, Noel.
We're talking about farms here, and this man's snorting like a pig.
He did.
I'll
We'll
play
pick
it
it
back.
up. We'll pick it up
I'll
on
play
the
it
audio.
back. Coño,
Oh,
como hombre.
fucking Liz, dude.
Como un hombre.
Como un hombre.
Don't worry, Liz. We'll give you jalapenos later. You'll feel right as
Oh
right.
my god, it's gonna clear up the fuck out of her
Clear her
sinuses.
Kill the corona from within.
Yes,
No, you don't have. No, she's rolling her eyes at me, isn't she? Because I mentioned corona.
probably.
I don't even have to look at her. I feel it.
She felt it. He felt it in the wind.
So yeah, man. Just any other examples you can think of before we close off?
To be honest, not really.
Okay, man. So I also wrote an outro. So that's all for today, folks. I'd like to thank you all for those who came to listen to us idiots talk, for giving us the chance to be heard. We have to start prepping for dinner, and I get to watch Ale cut onions badly. I'd like to thank him for recording with me and gently encourage him to go to hell. Any parting wisdoms, Ale?
With a smile on my face, I'll go to hell. It's fine. I'll take you with me.
I mean, come on. Like, there isn't already a seat
Isn't already a
reserved for me.
chair.
Yeah.
You know, with your freaking
next
name
to
on
Satan
it.
himself. Well, Liz is next to me in this scenario, too.
I think we have. You know what? We have a table.
Yeah,
we have a table.
I think Noel's going to heaven if heaven does exist.
No, are you kidding me?
We get
He's
to
got more evil in that little body than
Yeah, but he doesn't do it.
That's the point. That's why it's so scary.
Yeah, but it's about the act, you know.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I'm not religious. I just like fucking with him.
Yeah.
Any parting wisdoms or
No. Yeah.
Alright.
Be good people. Take care of each other. Have good
Alright.
food.
have good food? Had good food. All right, y'all. Peace.